Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. One of the things that I've always wanted to do, and now that I have my own channel, I'm going to do it very often. That is get away from fountain pens. I mean, that is the mission, if you will. That is the objective ultimately. But it's a lot of fun to look at other stuff that's, it's obviously related to fountain pens. And that's what do we put in these fountain pens, and that's ink. I have just a wonderful collection of ink bottles, various inks coming from all over the world, different consistencies, and we'll get into the different types, if you will, different shadings, different shimmering, and just straight up inks. And today, what I propose is this company from Australia by the name of Van Dieman's. And I gotta tell you, and I know everybody, all the professionals and all the experienced fountain pen lovers will say, Vincent, what are you talking about? I gotta tell you, Van Dieman, their inks just are blowing me away. Yes, there are Japanese inks. Yes, there's all kinds of inks. Yes, there's American inks. Yes, there's Italian inks, etc., etc., etc. There's Chinese inks, and we'll look at those as well. But I got to tell you, Van Dieman from Australia, they're just blowing me away. They're just blowing me away. I think I have more inks from that company than any other. Totally affordable. And you know what they do is they come up with collections. And the most recent collection is by the name of Birds of a Feather. So why don't I'm just going to shift the camera so you can take a look at what I'm talking about here. Okay, here we are. These are the inks that we're going to be looking at today. Okay? First of all, look at the packaging. It just, I got to tell you, they've got it. They've got it. They really have got it. And so if we start from this side here, the first, in the collection, if you will, okay, in the collection there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm looking at their website at the same time I'm speaking. There are 6 different subheadings or sub-collections within that one collection by the name of Bird of a Feather. The first one, you'll see I bought 3 of them, is the Blue Jay. You got the Blue Jay Wing, which is a sort of a darker blue. We have the Blue Jay Crown, which is a kind of purplish blue, but very light. And then we've got a beautiful Blue Jay Tail, which I would say is maybe my favorite of the 3. Okay? And then, so I have 3 from those. I did not buy any of the shimmering inks because they kind of ruin my pens, and they're a real pain to wash out, etc. So I'm staying away from them these days. But I should have gotten them. The second one is Anne's Hummingbird. I only bought one because the other ones were shimmering, and that's Face. And you'll see that there is a kind of a magenta. Then there is Mandarin Duck. I bought the Wing, and there's a brown there. Then we have the Laughing Kookaburra, which I think is the Australia's icon. We have the crest, we have the wing, and we have the tail. Kind of a grayish, a light blue, a dark brown. Then we got the Elegant Peacock. I've got the neck. I think it's neck. Another blue. Then we have the European Honey Bee Eater. This one's kind of a blue teal. I've got a yellow. I love yellow inks. Oh, I love yellow inks. And then we got a kind of an orangey one from the same sub collection, if you will, by the name of European Honey Bee Eater. So those are the inks that we're going to be looking at today. And what I propose is stay tuned. I'm going to take a quick break, set up, first of all, remove all these boxes Maybe I'll do one unboxing, okay? Just under camera, and then I will slip away and come back. So that's the packaging, and that's the bottle. I don't know if you can see it. My camera's having a hard time focusing, but there you go. Okay, very nice bottle. Nothing overly fancy, but large base. I like bottles that have a large base, so when you put your pen in, it doesn't tilt. Instead of having these long necks made out of plastic, and you're all over the place. So you know what? That's the bottle. So just give me a second. I'm going to unbox all these, and we'll come back and we'll do some ink swatching and some ink sampling. And I think you're going to love this. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I'm all set up. Okay, the first thing I would like to show you, especially for the beginners, I've talked about this little book before, or this little journal. This is my ink journal. It's an ink swatch journal by a company by the name of Good Ink Impressions. And I think the last time I checked, they were out of stock, but they regularly put them back. And I would suggest that you look for them, and they're sold by several other retailers other than, or wholesalers or internet companies other than Etsy, but I know that Etsy usually has them. And the beauty about this thing is that it has a little square. I don't know if you can see that. Here we go. It has a little square where you do your swatching, and you can see, for example, right there. Then it has the brand. Put the brand, put the name of the ink, and the date that you bought it, and you swatch them. I hesitate to put it on the other side just because there's a little bit of a penetration there, and I don't want to mess things up, and I don't want to mess up the colors, so I only ink on one side. The paper is Tomoe River paper, so it is the best paper to bring out all the special qualities of an ink. To me, there is no other. I know Cosmo Airlight comes close, Stalogy comes close, and we'll talk about paper. Visit my website, you'll see I have several suggestions, but the best one is Tomoe River. Okay, now, what are the other tools? Well, the other tools are the following. I purchased these, and I forget the name, but I think it's the Toronto Pink Company, but I forget. I'm Canadian, and I'm from Montreal, and in Toronto there is this shop that actually manufactures these things. And these are essentially my tools. I dip, and I'll show you how it's done, and you got different sizes. The ink penetrates in there, and it allows you to do all kinds of crafty things. Some people use them for calligraphy. I'm not a calligrapher just because my hands, I have a little bit of a tremor in my hands, and it just doesn't work. I've tried it. I enjoy it. I spend many hours trying it and retrying it, but I'm not proud of my work, put it this way. And then in order to, so that's the swatching, and the writing, you know, I can't ink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pens. I mean, I could, but it'll take me too long. So what I do is, first of all, I bought this little pen. It's in the shape of a pen, so I don't have to worry about the shape. And it's got a glass nib, you see? The glass nib for the beginners, when you dip that in ink, the ink goes into the grooves, and rather than, you know, steel nibs, if you will, this one's made out of glass. Now that's one that it's got a nice feel to it. It's got a pen feel, so it's easy to write with. Otherwise, you actually have glass pens. These are 2 in my collection. I mean, they're more of a collector's piece than anything else. Yes, I could write with them, I suppose, but they're just not as comfortable. So that's why I use the other one, and I'm a little bit hesitant that if I drop these things, I'll regret it. But those are my 2 among many glass pens that I own. Okay, and maybe we'll try them out. Maybe we'll try one of those out when we're doing this. So how does this work? Well, here's the way it's going to work. Let me just shift this here so I don't make a mess. Okay. And put a little towel so that I minimize the spilling. And what we will do is we'll start one at a time. So this one here is a kind of a teal blue. Well, let's check it up. Okay, so yeah, this is the thicker one. I need to use the thinner one because otherwise it will not go in. Okay, here we go. So you just dip it, and then you swatch, and you let it dry, and then you'll see what comes out of it, and you just wash it up and let it dry. While that dries, and I'm going to spare you the writing, but you know, normally what we would do is the nib, and this is Van Dieman. Go. And this one here is European Honey Bee Eater. I'm just going to put Bee Eater. Otherwise I can't fit it all. And this one is in particular, let me just see here, it's the breast. And this I purchased February 1, 2023. Okay, that's done. You just in the water. That's it. And we're all set. So that's number one. Okay, this is the yellow. Let's see what that gives. Look at that yellow. That is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'll put that aside. Dip my glass pen, and this is again a Bee Eater. Well, first of all, it's the Van Dieman. Look at that, just gorgeous. Van Dieman's Bee Eater, and this one is the, sorry, suppose I should have done this before I chin. And that's February 1, 2023. Now, I'm not going to do them all, but because you get the idea, but I will put down maybe different colors because there's a lot of blues in my collection. I'm a blue freak, so needless to say, for work purposes, I always like to use my fountain pens, and you know, blue is blue, black, sometimes green. Difficult to write with yellow, but I try. So let me just take that up. This is a kind of a brown, I guess, if the lighting is correct. Yeah, it's a reddish brick, sort of a brown. So that's put that there, and that's another Bee Eater, and this one here is the nap. So Van Dieman's. Oh, this is really nice. With my stub pens, I can tell you that this will be an absolute joy to write with. So when I do my corrections of my letters, and I do them in red for my assistant, this is definitely one that I'm going to ink up. Gorgeous, very nice. So we'll make sure that that gets, okay, there we go. So we've done a reddish brown. Now let's just, oh, let me do this. I'm curious about this gray blue and see what this gives. This is the Blue Jay crown. So this is the Blue Jay crown, and we'll finish things off with a darker brown, Blue Jay brown. Yeah, this is very light, very, very light. Japanese really like this, these kind of watercolors. I find, you know, I was expecting it to be a little bit darker, and maybe there was just too much water in my instrument here. It's a bit too light for me. It's a bit too light for me. It's very difficult, but you know, you got to appreciate the color. Yeah, I guess, right? So Van Dieman, once again. Oh, you know what? It writes much better than the swatching. This is Blue Jay crown. February 1, 2023. Okay. So there. So make sure that we get the water all out. Just close that up. Now, I do want to get, is it this one? Where's my dark blue? Yeah, this is it. I think this is it. Yeah. By the way, what I just noticed is that the Van Diemens, you may not see it on camera, but when you write it, it has on the outer lines of every lettering, it's a darker shade. So you can see there's some shade there. I guess we would call it shading as opposed to sheen. It's not really, but it could be a sheen because it's a different color. So, okay, let's try this dark blue. Oh yeah, this is a black blue. Yeah, and what I notice is that there's a little bit too much water in my instrument. So it's kind of, you know, it waters down the ink, which is, you're not going to do that when you put it into a pen, obviously. So let's look at the way, just absolutely very, very nice. Van Diemen's Blue Jay. And that is the wing. February 1, 2023. Now, what I want you to note, and perhaps, let me just tap this up. I don't want to spill anything, otherwise we'll spend a few hours cleaning up. But that light blue is very similar to a very, very, very popular sailor ink, and right now I forget the Japanese name for it, but it has a light gray, there's a great intonation, there's the blue, and then there's the pink intonation in there. I don't know if you see that. Right? There you go. You see that? So, and the brown, see the shading? It has a kind of a darker brown. The yellow is just absolutely fabulous. Green is pretty well straight up. And I was hoping to see some red shading from this blue, but it doesn't look like that's the case at all. You know what? I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to do it right here. And maybe what I will do is take this magenta. Very nice. Very nice. That is, you see that one looked like a more of a red, brick red when I applied it, but it looks like more and more like it's turning into brown even. So this is maybe the one that I'll do my letter correcting with, because it's a little more red. So once again, it's Van Dieman. This one is the hummingbird. And it's the face. And it's February 1, 2023. So that's going to dry up nicely, and you'll see the different shades of the same color. Let me just clean that up. So hello, I'm back. I had some second thoughts. Here I have 14 bottles, or roughly, 12 bottles of ink, and I only realized I only showed you 6. It kind of defeat the purpose if I didn't show you the other colors or the other inks as well. I mean, you got the hang of how I take the swatches with the different instruments that I use. And I'm going to put them in the description below where you can purchase some of this stuff, and that way you can have your supplies. So what I did off camera is that I proceeded. I think I had inked 5 inks, if I'm not mistaken, on camera. And what I did is I took the other 10, and I decided to just ink them all up, put them on paper, and now I can show them to you. One more thing, I just have my blotter here because I realized this one here is a little messy. It's giving me some hard time in the sense that it's taking a long time to dry, and I do want to be able to finish this video in front of you. So I've done that, and this is another very handy tool that you should have in your repertoire of tools. So if we go back, these are the 5, 6 original inks. You can tell there were light and pretty straight inks with there was some shading here where the blue, you can see a mixture of pinkish tones there. A little bit of here, 2 tones, but the same color, if you will, not double toned. Okay, but to my joy, the other ones, and that's why I felt that you would be missing out on this, the Van Dieman's Elegant Peacock Meek, this one right here, which is a gorgeous blue, very, very nice blue. This is my favorite shades of blue, if you will. You can see the red sheening that pops up. The same thing for this Van Dieman Mandarin Duck. You can see the red shading that pops up. So that is very, very nice, and I'm glad I was able to share that with you. The same thing would go with these. Slightly darker, the Laughing Cockaloon Crest has gray, but has a pinkish overtones. There's some pink as well in this Laughing Cockaboo Tail. Darker than its sister ink, if you will, but again, there's that pinkish. This one just gives you straight up shading, darker shades of the same color. And in this one here, the Mandarin Duck Wing, again, you can see it's a brown, but it has some pink shading in it. So that's at least the 12 bottles that I purchased in this Birds of a Feather collection. I think it is just an absolutely fabulous collection, and I hope you enjoyed it. And that ends my video. Please subscribe, and we'll come back with more videos next week of both fountain pens. I promise you a video on paper as well. It's forthcoming. I'm working on it. So there you are. Enjoy your day. Thank you.